Hello and welcome to my channel. Today, a lot transpired. Once again, the case of Nnamdi Kanu has taken a dramatic turn in the courtroom. And this time, it raises more questions than answers. Pay attention to this broadcast. It's very important. A lot of things happen that we need to talk about. Remember, he's now in charge of his case, but certain things transpired. And, well, the world watched as the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, appeared in court to begin his defense. But surprisingly, he did not open his defense. Instead, he told the court something shocking, that he has been denied access to his own case file. Can you imagine? He said, "How can I defend myself when I don't even have my documents?" And this statement sent confusion across the courtroom. Now, according to reports, Kanu explained that the DSS has refused to give him the materials he needs to prepare his defense. For anyone who understands the law, this is serious. A man who cannot see his own file cannot defend himself properly. It means he is standing in court half blind. It's just like somebody that they tied his eye. One part of his eye, half blind. It's like somebody who is seeing partially. And if that is happening in a high-profile trial like this, then what about ordinary Nigerians who cannot even afford a lawyer? It makes you wonder, is this really about justice or is it about control? In that same court sitting, Nnamdi Kanu also revealed that his witnesses are coming from Ethiopia, Kenya, listen carefully, Kenya and other countries. This has changed everything. If he's having witness from Kenya, please, I'm begging these people, I want them to televise this particular trial, if it's going to go. And let every witnesses that were invited come. Let them be given the proper summons. Witnesses are coming from Kenya. You know what that means? And also Ethiopia. This is going to turn around everything. You know why? Remember, Nnamdi Kanu's arrest began from Kenya. He was taken under controversial circumstances and flown to Nigeria. That is from the time I started hearing extraordinary rendition. Some people say kidnap. So look at it. It is going to twist a lot of things. Now he wants people from those countries to testify. In the other broadcast, I said there could be more to this. It may not just be kidnap. There could be more to this. I believe there are certain things he may know that even he has not told his defense. I'm thinking so. I'm beginning to think so. So, when they come, what will they say? Maybe they will tell the truth about how he was captured. Maybe they will reveal what really happened behind the scenes. This trial, where it's going, if those countries' witnesses come, the trial will no longer be a Nigerian story. It will become an international one. And, I'm like, some people in power may not want that. So if you don't want it, what next? What will you do if you don't want it to go that way? This thing is becoming more interesting by the day. Now, let's go back to the witnesses, because one of the witnesses he wants them to summon has reacted. Among those listed as witnesses by Kanu is Wike, who is a former governor of Rivers State. Now, when journalists asked him if he would appear in court, Wike said, "I will only testify if the court orders me to." That sounds neutral, but it says a lot. That is a classic political answer. Don't say yes, don't say no. Stay safe. That is the kind of answer he gave. Now, but when justice is on the line, if you keep silent, it can mean several things. It can also mean guilt. If you know the truth, why wait for permission to say it? You know, Wike's reaction shows how fearful and political this case has become. Everyone is calculating their position, while the main issue, justice, is still hanging in the air. And while all this is going on, there is another part of the story. The protest that happened outside the court on October 20. During that protest, Sowore, along with Nnamdi Kanu's brother and lawyer, were arrested. Many Nigerians condemned it, calling it an act of intimidation. But just this week, the court granted them bail. That was a small relief for those who believe in freedom of expression. But the question remains, why were they arrested in the first place? Nigeria, the country we are in. So when, it will make us to begin to ask, when did peaceful protest become a crime? When? You see, the pattern is becoming clear. Every time someone speaks up for justice, they face harassment, arrest, or intimidation. It's like the system wants silence more than the truth. And that is dangerous for any country. Because when you silence voices today, tomorrow, you will have silence instead of leadership. Let's be honest. This trial has gone beyond one man. When a citizen is denied his case file, when a citizen is denied his case file, when a citizen is denied his case file, when witnesses are scared, when protests lead to arrest, then justice is no longer blind. It is being blindfolded. Nnamdi Kanu's case is now a test of Nigeria's conscience. It is no longer about whether you support IPOB or not. It's about whether you still believe that every Nigerian deserves fairness. And some say the government fears that Kanu's defense might expose too many secrets. Secrets about how he was taken from Kenya, about what happened in the DSS custody, and about why he is being kept longer than the court ordered. Others believe the government simply wants to wear him down, to make him tired, silent, and forgotten. But Nigerians have not forgotten. Every hearing brings renewed attention. Every delay raises new questions, and every injustice strengthens the movement for fairness. a lot of dramas. Now, let's go to the release of Sowore and that of Kanu's brother and his lawyer. That one is a small victory, but it reminds us that freedom in Nigeria now comes in small doses, not as a right. If activists and lawyers must be bailed just for demanding justice, then democracy is in danger. I almost said democracy. I remember that song Fela sang. This one, na crazy democracy, demonstration of craze. We join you do protest for Ojota. We join you 1 man protest for Ojota, 1 million man protest for Ojota. Now you not be say you they do well, then come bring the protest for your door. You begin to arrest people. Did Jonathan arrest you? Or you think Jonathan has no power to arrest you in Lagos? You that is Presido now. But he didn't. So why are you intimidating people who are doing the same thing? Nobody's carrying weapons. Now, looking at the whole thing again, let's face the truth. This is not just a legal case anymore. It is a political case. It is political, but it is dressed as law. Every delay, every restriction, every arrest is part of the bigger script. This is about power. It is about image and control. But I want to remind whoever is in charge that no government can silence the truth forever, because truth doesn't die in detention. It grows in whispers, in stories, in hearts. Please, let them allow this to happen. Now, for many Nigerians, especially in the Southeast, this is painful to watch. Yeah, I know. Even people who do not agree with Kanu's method now agree that he deserves fair treatment. Because if the law can be twisted against one man today, it can be twisted against anyone tomorrow. Forget about those who are parading themselves. We want this, we want. Remember, an accused person is given an opportunity to answer to the accusation. Well, as we await next court sitting, the world is watching. Will Nigeria allow justice to speak? Or will politics continue to drown it? History is taking notes, so history is jotting down things. And one day, when this chapter is closed, the truth will still stand, no matter who tried to bury it. Noto, remember the Nadeko days. Freedom fighter Nadeko. Anyway, this is IGBO AREA TV. We don't speak for the system, we speak for the people. Stay tuned and stay informed and keep asking questions, because justice delayed is never justice denied. It is justice exposed. Thanks for watching. I'm Azoka OJ. I say bye-bye for now.